We begin on the continent of Exelant with Seth, a young sailor who nearly drowns after his ship sinks, but is saved and pulled to shore by a mysterious force. Still on the brink of death, he is discovered by Princess Gloria of the ruined kingdom of Musa and her royal guard, Sir Sloane. 3 years prior, Musa fell against the Holograd Empire's invasion, with 3 of the 4 world's elemental crystals stolen during the chaos. As the sole surviving member of the Musan royal family, which is charged with protecting all 4 crystals, Gloria holds the Wind Crystal and seeks to regain the missing Water, Earth, and Fire crystals in order to prevent a prophesied calamity, called the Night's Nexus, from befalling the land. Gloria and Sloane take Seth to an inn at the nearby kingdom of Halcyonia, where he awakens after a brief recovery period. While revisiting the beach where he was found in an attempt to recall exactly what happened to him and how he can return home, Seth encounters and protects an elderly woman being attacked by goblins. He is assisted by Elvis, a scholar, along with his hired mercenary Adele, who happen to be passing by in their search for asterisks, which are magical gems imbued with various specialists' experience that confer their abilities to whoever holds one. Elvis's goal is to decipher a mysterious ancient book, which can project visions of the past and future using the combined power of several asterisks. After defeating the goblins, the trio return to Halcyonia together and learn that Sloane was attacked and Gloria was kidnapped by mercenaries seeking the Wind Crystal. The rescue mission goes awry, and the Wind Crystal communicates directly with Seth, revealing that it was the entity which saved him from drowning, and bestows its power onto him as a hero of light. Seth uses this power to defeat the mercenaries, obtaining their asterisks and freeing Gloria. Upon returning to Halcyonia, Seth is rewarded by the elderly woman he saved earlier by being allowed to borrow her boat for a short sail, during which he discovers a mysterious item of unknown purpose that he decides to keep. Sloane gives Gloria his dagger for self-protection, and the group departs Halcyonia for the desert kingdom of Savalon. While passing through the Vale of Sighs, a mountain path connecting the 2 kingdoms, Sloane reveals that 50 years ago, he was the Wind Crystal's chosen, and asks Seth to protect Gloria with his inherited power. After visiting the grave of Sloane's wife along the mountain path, the group are ambushed by the Halcyonian king's duplicitous aide Horton, who reveals that he hired the mercenaries as part of a scheme to hand Gloria and the Wind Crystal over to Holograd in exchange for assisting him with usurping Halcyonia's throne. After defeating Horton and acquiring his asterisk, Holograd's Lord Commander, Adam, appears and kills Horton for his failure, before taking the Wind Crystal from the group by force. Sloane sacrifices himself to cover the group's escape, and they return after Adam departs to give Sloane a proper burial next to his wife. Upon arriving in Savalon, the group discovers the town is flooded and suspect the water crystal's influence. They discover the crystal in the basement of Bernard, a thief and member of Savalon's Council of Elders. Gloria receives its blessing, and they defeat him, acquiring his asterisk before Savalon's current ruler, Prince Castor, arrives, kills Bernard, and has the group arrested, framing them for his murder. The group escapes imprisonment, confronts Castor, and after defeating him, his acquired asterisk interacts with the book, showing everyone a vision of Castor murdering his father, the king, in a fit of rage over the king's refusal to steal the water crystal from Musa in order to replenish their land's dwindling water supply. Castor then falls to his death while evading his guards, and his brother, Prince Pollux, who he also had imprisoned, is crowned king. Annie Hall, Bernard's former assistant, informs the group that in her travels she saw another crystal in Wiswald, Elvis's hometown. The group arrive in Wiswald, finding the town overgrown with trees, and that Elvis's friends, Galahad, Roddy, and Lily, are acting strangely in the wake of the death of Roddy and Lily's daughter, Mona. Forced to defeat them in battle and obtaining their asterisks in the process, the group learns that they were being manipulated by paintings of Mona, created by an artist named Foley. They infiltrate her lair, discovering that she has murdered the many missing adults of the town to use their blood for her red paint. She also participated in the invasion of Musa, where she acquired the Earth Crystal, which she used to rapidly grow the surrounding trees to obtain their yellow pigment for her paint. Elvis receives the Earth Crystal's blessing, the group defeats Foley, receiving her asterisk and escaping before the cave collapses, killing her. The group continues on to the snowy town of Rheimdall, as Foley mentioned, prior to her death, that it was also associated with Musa's destruction. En route, they are joined by a young dragon named Gwillem, who explains that he came to investigate the scent of death coming from the town. They arrive to witness a woman falling to her death after being convicted by the Rheimdall Church of being a fairy, which the town has been taught to hate, and forced into taking a leap of faith to be judged by their Lord of Dragons. They meet the church's archbishop, Dominic, who they suspect has the fire crystal, and his chief inquisitor, Helio. Gwillem advises the group to seek an audience with his father, Gwydion, the Lord of Dragons. They arrive at the Serpent's Grotto, are welcomed by Gwydion's guardian, Martha, learn that Dominic is not acting on behalf of the old dragon, and that he must be stopped. The group is attacked by Helio and Gladys, the church's enforcer, and receive their asterisks upon defeating them, before Helio escapes and Gladys is made aware that the church is falsely accusing and killing people for Dominic's own gain. They return to Rheimdall to find Martha being condemned, and as she is forced to take the leap of faith, Adele reveals that she is a fairy, transforming and flying to save her. Adele explains that the asterisks came from her fairy hometown, and her sister is the one who took them and has been giving them to people, leading Adele to search for her to learn her reason for doing so. They proceed to confront Dominic in the church, where they discover him with the fire crystal, which proceeds to bestow its blessing onto Adele, infuriating Dominic. After Dominic is defeated by the group and they reclaim his asterisk, he is murdered by Helio, who reveals himself to be a hologratter, whose mission was to infiltrate Rheimdall and weaken the kingdom's stability to lay the groundwork for the Holograd army's future invasion. He escapes with the fire crystal as the Holograd army attacks, and the group searches for him while defending the town. While fighting Holograd soldiers, Gladys is fatally stabbed in the back by a Rheimdall soldier, whose sister she previously killed in the name of the church. Helio appears, gloating over her demise and revealing that it was he who killed her parents, not fairies as she was led to believe. Enraged, she musters the last of her strength to retrieve the fire crystal from him and bring it to the group just before dying from her wounds. Gwydion then arrives, incinerating Helio and a portion of the Holograd army, before Adam appears and battles the dragon, ultimately managing to overpower and gravely wound him. The group arrives in Gwydion's final moments, as he entrusts Rheimdall to Gwillem and Martha. Adam orders his generals to invade the other cities of Exelant, and upon learning this, the group travels to each city, defeating the generals, obtaining their asterisks, and enlisting the kingdom's support before marching on Holograd to recover the Wind Crystal. As the group confronts Adam and Edna, Adele's sister, Adam uses the Wind Crystal as a power source to make his fortress airborne and escape deeper inside it. Upon reaching Adam at the core of the flying fortress, he explains his goal of forcefully uniting the world under his rule in the name of peace, before the group defeats him and takes his asterisk. Edna drains the Wind Crystal of its remaining power, causing the fortress to begin falling apart and descending, before revealing her goal of destroying humanity for revenge and escaping. Adam saves Seth from falling debris, before Gwillem arrives, now fully grown, and carries the group to safety before the fortress crashes, killing Adam and wounding Gwillem. Gwillem takes the group back to his lair, and explains that when Gwydion died, his energy was transferred to him, resulting in his rapid physical and mental growth, including all knowledge passed down from dragon to dragon over the generations. Gwillem explains that many centuries ago, humans and fairies lived together in harmony, and shared a sacred spring, called the Fount of Knowledge, containing all knowledge of the world. The Knight's Nexus was originally a human who greedily desired to take all knowledge for herself alone, including the forbidden knowledge in the fairy kingdom, and began the process of consuming the entire world, a calamity which was destroying it, until the original Heroes of Light defeated and sealed it away. 50 years ago, the previous Heroes of Light sealed the Nexus away with the crystals, which normally last 200 years before needing to be recharged again to maintain the seal. However, due to their recent overuse after being stolen from Musa, their energy has been drained, and the seal is about to break, releasing the Nexus. Returning to Musa with all 4 crystals, the group places them back in their rightful locations within the shrine, before the book shows them a vision of their upcoming battle, in which they defeat the Nexus. Gloria then performs the ritual to restore the crystal's power and reseal the Nexus away, which requires her to sacrifice herself, and she dies. Upon seeing this, Seth refuses to proceed without seeking an alternate method, and at Adele's suggestion, the group leaves for the fairy kingdom of Mag Mell, while Edna oversees the uninterrupted revival of the Nexus and is consumed by it. Esmeralda, the current leader of Mag Mell, takes the group to the Fount of Knowledge, which has continued to accumulate information over the centuries, meaning the Nexus will be drawn to it again. The book shows them another vision of their upcoming battle, where they must repeatedly defeat the Nexus, as it resurrects every time it is killed. In the vision, Esmeralda is forced to seal Mag Mell away from the rest of the world, trapping the Nexus within it, with Adele deciding to stay behind with the rest of the fairies to atone for her sister's misdeeds. The book also shows the battle of the previous Heroes of Light, 50 years prior, where Sloane attacked the Nexus with a powerful asterisk in an attempt to defeat it and prevent the need for Godric, Gloria's grandfather, to sacrifice himself to recharge the crystals in the seal. However, the asterisk was broken into 2 pieces, one still held by Sloane, the other disappearing into the void, forcing Godric to sacrifice himself. Following this vision, the group visits Sloane's grave, where his spirit appears and tests them through battle, before explaining that half of the asterisk is in the hilt of his dagger, which he gave to Gloria before they originally departed Halcyonia, and the other half is the mysterious item Seth found while sailing the elderly Halcyonian woman's boat. Upon reuniting the 2 halves into the whole final asterisk, the book becomes fully translated, revealing that it is, itself, an asterisk, that the Nexus imprinted her memory into, allowing her to become eternal. It shows them a vision of the Nexus across the sea and of the elderly Halcyonian woman on the beach where Seth rescued her. The group goes to the vision's location at the beach and finds the elderly woman there, where she reveals herself to be the fairy queen, Eileen. She tells them of the outer oceans, which are different dimensions, and uses the last of her life essence to send them to the Isle of Nothingness, an area where these dimensions converge and where the Nexus can finally be destroyed. They battle and defeat the Nexus in its true and fully powered form, while resisting its attempts to consume their memories. The crystals return the group members to their homes, teleporting Gloria, Elvis, and Adele back to the beach, and Seth back to his own dimension, where he was originally drowning. As a final blessing, the Wind Crystal again saves him, teleporting him to the beach with the others.